Hello, and welcome back to the Calm and Connected podcast. I'm your host, Janine Halloran, and today we're talking about summer. And in particular, we're talking about what a social distancing summer looks like and some unique ways to keep your kids busy. So I know that this is super different and it can be a little bit challenging. I'm experiencing this too. Back in January, I had some major plans that I was going to put in place this summer with my kids. We were going to do field trips, we were going to go to museums, do lots of day trips all around. And that just sort of has not been able to happen because a lot of the places we were going to go are closed. And so we've had to think differently. So what I've been trying to do is find new places for us to explore as a family that are close to us. So, all the things that we don't normally typically do but we want to do, or places we want to go, hikes we want to see, nature places that we haven't been. So we went on a hike recently to a place we'd never been before, and it was amazing. What I loved about it, actually, after doing some research, is that I found that you only could go if you had reserved a spot the day before. So that's how they were limiting how many people were going in, and that felt really good. And as we were there, people were definitely wearing their masks, and sometimes, from a distance, you could see where somebody was coming, so you were able to put up your mask pretty quickly, and as they did too. So that's what I'm going to plan on continuing to do. Explore some nature preserves, explore hikes, explore green spaces that we haven't gone to before, so we can have some safe outdoor fun together. So I wanted to hear from other people about what their ideas were for keeping their kids busy this summer as well. So I got a ton of responses, and there were a few in particular that I wanted to highlight. So I'll highlight those here. And then I'm going to invite you to visit the blog post for this podcast episode so that you can see all of their phenomenal ideas. So when you go to the blog post, then you'll get all of the ideas that they submitted. So I just wanted to highlight a few, and I'll just mention their names and I'll highlight why I love it so much. So the first one I wanted to mention was Dr. Nikisha Hammond, who's a psychologist. So she was talking about, lots of different ideas, especially for younger kids to keep them busy. And one that I absolutely love was put on a puppet show. So, having fun with lots of different themes. My kids used to do this when they were younger. They would sort of write scripts or create puppets, make an actual puppet theater, and it kept them busy and entertained for a long time. So I think, especially if you have younger ones, that can be really fun. Bigger kids can help out too. It's just a fun way that families could play together. Kids can keep each other entertained together. So definitely, I love the idea of a puppet show. Rachel Ritlop, who runs the confusedmillennial.com, she had a couple of wonderful ideas, but one that really stuck out to me was the DIY colored pasta. So, I love sensory, and it's such a great sensory experience for youngsters, and it's part of teaching a valuable life skill because older kids can learn that how to boil pasta. And there's something just a really cool sensory experience to be playing with the DIY colored pasta. So that's a great idea. Dee Dee Moore from More Than Grand talks about strengthening relationships with grandparents and grandchildren and parents. And especially at this time, given that there has to be so much social distancing that is continuing to occur, I think it makes a lot of sense to focus on this. And so her suggestion was a family history project. So younger kids may need a little bit of help from parents or grandparents, but then you can have older kids act as interviewers, so asking questions about what life was like when kids were younger, who the people in their family were, what did they do for a job, and depending on the child's age and how interested they are, it could be a project that can last a while, or it can be a project that lasts all summer, and then they can end up creating something from it. Maybe they create a book or a movie or even a family tree. And I think it's a lovely idea. It's actually something that I enjoy doing with my own mom, and I have not really introduced it to my kids yet. And it's making me think, I wonder if we should do a little bit more family history stuff this summer because we have the opportunity. So I'm definitely going to be checking in on my mom and seeing about hearing some of the tapes that she recorded when she was talking to her mom and her aunt about their lives. So maybe we can get a little bit of information from them. Another great resource could be Lauren Jenkins has created the Mini Money Management app. And so this is great for helping kids learn about money through experience. So they get a salary and they have bills, and it's just a great way for kids to start to understand the concept of making sure that they can budget and they can make mistakes. And then, it's not a really big mistake that happens in the real world, but it happens in the app. And it's just something that they can have a little fun and learn about money that way. And Marissa Donnelly, who's an English and reading teacher and the founder of Be a Light Collective, she has a couple of great ideas on here as well. And one that I absolutely love, I absolutely resonate with, is for anxiety. She talks about an empowering way to calm your child's nervous system is to encourage them to speak their emotions out loud. So when they're starting to feel stressed, to say it out loud. I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling confused. And I love this. This is straight out of Dr. Dan Siegel's work, and I name it to tame it, which I absolutely say all the time and I absolutely love. And then the last thing that she talked about was embracing video games. So if you've listened to the podcast, you know that I am a huge fan of video games. I play them myself. And I think they're actually quite a great way for families to connect with one another. So I love that she is just taking a dive and going in and playing to play video games with her kid. What's really interesting is when you are in the learning seat and they are in the teacher seat, it's very interesting to see how they help you. And it just gives a different sort of spin on working together. It's a great way for families to work together to play video games. And, you can maybe try a game that they love, something maybe like Minecraft, but you could also play games together like Mario Party or Mario Kart, 4-player games, 5-player games. You each have your own controller and you go through and you are, competing against each other. It's, maybe you need a break from board games because you've played a lot of them. So maybe you want to try playing a video game together. So I love all of these ideas. I love that she's doing it and I encourage you to try it too. And also try and play video games yourself. I'm a huge fan of Animal Crossing, and it's really one thing that's really helped me get through the pandemic is to be able to just sort of decompress and play Animal Crossing whenever I get a chance to. So like I said before, I invite you to come over to the blog post over at JanineHalloran.com and hit the podcast button up in the top right corner, and that will take you to the podcast episodes. And on this particular podcast episode, you'll see all of the recommendations from these lovely people about how to help your kids get through the summer, how to help you get through the summer, unique ways to keep them busy. If you like this podcast, please feel free to like and subscribe and share it with your colleagues and friends. And just one more thing, please don't forget about yourself. Take a few minutes, have a little fun, and have an awesome day.